Morning again, gang. You get two this morning. One here, one there. Figured I'd put this one over here because it's a little bit more risky. Let's just leave it that way. Uh, but important information to put out, and I found it very interesting. Maybe you would too. Now, we all know that we are being lied to left, right, upside, downside, you backwards, frontwards, you name it, okay? There isn't anything that comes out of the media anymore that is true, and even you get some of these fact checkers that can't check facts, okay? Nobody confirms anything, nobody looks up anything, people just run their mouth and think, hey, as long as I say it, people believe it. It's one of those things, tell a lie often enough and eventually people believe it. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of stories here, just so when you're hearing this crap in the media that you can call bullshit where bullshit is due. I don't care where it is, United States, Germany, Britain, Russia, Australia, whatever. We're hearing all these stories over and over and over again. Oh, the ICUs are full with the unvaccinated people and everything like that, and they're causing stress on the healthcare system and everything like that. Okay. Now, I guess over in Britain here, in the last couple of days, the leftists, let's just leave it that way, are running around saying, 90% of the ICU beds in Great Britain are filled with unvaccinated people. And this isn't just one person. This is like talking heads everywhere. 90%, 90%, 90%. And I'll link all the information here below for this story for you as well. Okay. Well, it appears they're exaggerating just a little bit. Okay. Because right now, 90% of the ICU beds in Great Britain aren't even full, okay? Actually, only 81% of the beds even have people in them, all right? Only 21% of the beds are actually being used by COVID patients at all, okay? 60% being used by non-COVID, obviously, do the math. But here's the funnier part. Those 21% people, that could be somebody who's in ICU because they just had a car accident, but they also tested positive for COVID, so they're counted as a COVID case. Okay, just so you guys know that. But only 21% of the hospital beds, period, are being used by COVID patients of any type, not 90% unvaccinated. But if you want to take this out even further, the amount of people of that 21% that are unvaccinated is 35.4. So if you want to break this down, let's just make this simple for math. Okay, let's say there's 100 ICU beds. Okay, first off, only 81 of them are occupied. Of those 81 beds, only 21% are COVID patients, which means roughly only 16, maybe 17 in there, are COVID patients. Remember, out of 100 beds, 16 are COVID patients. Of those 16 people, 35%, 35.4% are unvaccinated. 35.4% of 16 is, somewhere around 5. So where the media is coming out and saying 90% of the COVID patient or the ICU beds are filled with unvaccinated people, the actual figure is 5%. Do you think you're being lied to? Just a little bit. Okay. Like I said, I'll link this below so you can go read this. But I mean, they aren't even, this is the panic, the hype that the media is trying to push. And again, like I've said millions and millions and millions of times, It's for clicks, it's for advertisement, it's for propaganda, it's for profit. That's what it is, okay? If you don't think they're in bed with the politicians, who aren't in bed with the drug companies, who aren't all getting their pockets lined with all this freaking money, I got, oceanfront property to sell you in Arizona. All right. So then the other one, which this one, again, interesting. We've talked about balkanization over and over and over again. The divorce is coming. We may not see it in our lifetime, okay? At least in mine. I mean, like I said in my other video this morning, God willing, I've got another 35 years on the planet if I can make it to 90. All right. Axios, a notorious far left leaning publication. Okay, there's nothing conservative about that. I mean, there's about as much conservative out of Axios as there is out of Bernie Sanders. Okay, there's nothing. Well, they put out a report yesterday that says young Democrats, future leaders of the country, are more likely to despise Republicans. Okay. Now, young leaders, again, let's talk about people in their 20s and 30s, the young Democrats, people in their 20s and 30s. Okay. 71% of Democrats wouldn't go on a date with a conservative. 37% wouldn't be friends with a conservative, and 30% wouldn't even work for somebody who was a conservative. Think about that. 3/4 of the people wouldn't date somebody, and 1/3 of the people wouldn't even work for a conservative company. So, Hobby Lobby, you walk in there, you can pretty much bet that your cashier is going to be a conservative. Go eat at Chick-fil-A, pretty much guaranteed. Okay, this is it. On the other side of the fence, to look at it, 31% of the Republicans said they'd refuse to date a Democrat. Just 5% said they would not be friends with a Democrat, and only 7% said that they couldn't work for somebody who was a Democrat. Okay, so there's still a decent amount, at least in the dating part. The other two, okay, fine, big deal. 5-7% is almost immaterial. But that'll tell you the chasm that we have between the two sides. That there is no coming back. I mean, this is just getting, the divide is becoming greater and greater and greater and greater. Okay. There's more and more reporting, editorials, whatever would be, about the peaceful secession of different parts of the country. And like I said before, we'd probably be best off if we were somewhere between 3 and 5 separate countries at this point. I mean, the United States idea originally was a great idea. Still is a great idea. The problem that we have with it is, and again, we've all said this, rather than people coming to America and assimilating to American ideals, Americans are trying to assimilate to the people that are coming here ideals. And that is what's destroying the country. Okay? The country has always been about strong borders, strong military, freedom, equal opportunity, and now it's got to the point where you've got half the country wants equal everything, to hell with opportunity, you just deserve it. And the other half is like, no, you need to work for it. Could 3 to 5 countries survive next to each other? Yeah, okay, they could. How is the breakup possible? It's very difficult, don't get me wrong, but people say, oh, what about Social Security or something like that? You could move to Costa Rica today as a retiree and still collect your Social Security. Okay, just because you live in another country doesn't mean you don't get your Social Security. All right, so just putting that out there. But yeah, guys, it's coming. We may not see it in our lifetime, but your grandkids, your great grandkids are not going to be living in the same country you live in. And it's nothing that should surprise anybody. Go back and take a look at the map of Europe in 1900. Go back and take a look at the map of Europe in 1950. Go back and take a look at the map of Europe in 2000. It changes, okay? The Ottoman Empire doesn't exist anymore. Czechoslovakia is now two countries, the Czech Republic and the Slovak Republic, okay? The Soviet Union doesn't exist anymore. Maps change. Countries, borders change, countries disappear. It happens. We're not immune to this. You know, it shouldn't come as a shock to anybody, and it shouldn't be like, oh my God, that could never happen. Yeah, it does, okay? Empires usually last around 200 years, guys. And we're pushing 250 on the United States. So, you know, we could be at the end of our life. That's all. I mean, and it's not something that I'm freaked out about. I actually would prefer it, okay? Not that every conservative and myself has the same idea, but, you know, there needs to be a state that, a country, meaning state, that, again, respects religion, respects individual freedoms, you know, etc. There needs to be a country that is based like the United States originally was. And if somebody wants the nanny state, hey, feel free to move there. Okay, no problem. It's your choice. I'm all for choice. Choose wisely. Pinball out.